So today I'm going to be talking about metacognition. What is metacognition? It's the observing of the self. So I have been going through a process over many years where I've started doing this, where I have started watching my actions, the way I speak to myself, and what I do. And let me give you some examples. For example, perhaps I used to go to someone's house and maybe I'd look at it and go, oh, why don't they fix that? Or why haven't they tidied up? Or I'd look at someone's car and I'd go, oh, that car's a little bit old, a little bit beat up. Perhaps you should get a newer car. And I would also sometimes get upset or impatient or angry if I was in a situation where people wanted me to do things or would say something, and perhaps I didn't quite understand them, and I would take it the wrong way, and I would get angry and upset, and then they would get upset and angry with me. And so what I've started doing in the last few years is watching how I act, how I think, how I speak, how I feel, and saying to myself, is that in alignment with who you want to be? The way you just spoke, or the way you thought, or the way you acted, was that correct? And when I started doing this, and I started having compassion for other people and saying perhaps their house is untidy or perhaps they haven't fixed something, is because they are going through something, or perhaps they're back sore and they can't do anything, to rather seeing compassion for people and not seeing the wrong in everything, the negative side of everything. And if people spoke to me in not a nice way, I choose now to look at this and say, perhaps they're just having a bad day, or perhaps someone else got cross with them and that's why they're reacting the way they did. So I choose to act with kindness and to act with compassion and not get impatient or angry or upset, and to try and just be kind. And I found that I have entered a whole new world when I start treating people with compassion and kindness and not reacting or overreacting, not getting angry, not getting impatient, not getting frustrated. I get people who start treating me with that same kind of compassion and kindness. So metacognition, the observing of the self, the observance of how you speak, how you act, and how you think, opens up a new world. It's incredible when one can do that. And sometimes it's quite difficult to change those old behaviors, those old patterns, to stop that judgment, to stop the angers, to stop the overreacting, to stop being kind instead of just automatically saying what you think. And this is where hypnosis is so good. This is where we can work with you, where we rewire your brain, that instead of the subconscious going to the old patterns, we, through imagery, through hypnosis, through association, through new thoughts, we can change the way you think, the way you act, the way you feel. So when someone says something mean to you, you actually stop for a minute and say, how do I want to react? Maybe my first thought or reaction is not correct. Let me take a breath and let me say something kind. And this really does open up a new world.